Welcome back to The Glass Box, a podcast for revolutionaries who are meant to guide people and themselves towards authentic liberation. A podcast for the people who are meant to change the world. I am so excited for you to tune into this episode. I am joined by Krystal Thompson, and normally, at least in this season, I improv the intro. But let me this time just read directly from her bio. Krystal Thompson is an artist, speaker, and soul-led business strategist helping new paradigm entrepreneurs build 6+ figure businesses that are energetically aligned, wildly magnetic, and completely their own. Using human design, gene keys, energetic reprogramming, and intuitive strategy, she guides female visionaries to break the rules, trust their energy, and build businesses that create their heaven on earth. This episode has so much wisdom in it. Full transparency here on The Glass Box. We recorded this in July 2025, right? Ironically, as Mercury stationed retrograde. I had every intention of getting this episode out in August. But lo and behold, it is now November. You'll see in the episode that I referenced the fact that I was about to travel. And that's not to say that my traveling delayed this episode coming out. But it's been fascinating for me personally because I've taken the time to sit with everything from this conversation and everything that I have learned and integrated and embodied since then. And trust me, I will speak more to that in another episode, somewhere down the line. But for now, I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So, without further ado, welcome back to The Glass Box. We're just kind of going to dive right in, starting with thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I saw you on Instagram, found you through Threads, and immediately was like, yeah, I need to kind of dig into that brain a little bit. Like, I want to see what she has to say. I want to listen to your wisdom. So
I love that. I'm delighted. Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, thank you. So I know I have your bio, read that off screen. I want to hear from you in the moment, though. Tell us a bit about yourself, how you got from who you were before to who you are now.
I feel like for me, that journey was so much about the body. And human design and gene keys has, of course, been such a huge part of that. But I think who I was before, what the kind of before and after that comes up when you ask me that question is the me who was in my body versus the me who wasn't. Like really living in this kind of like separated being and separated existence that's sort of like neck up. And I think so many people are in that way of being. And for me, human design was the kind of first place, maybe not the first place, but the deepest place where I really crossed that threshold. I started doing yoga when I was in college, and that led me into meditation. And like those foundations had to be there, I think, for this work to really land in the way that it has. but encountering my body graph and starting to work with it and truly only experimenting with my energy type and authority at the beginning. Like that was really all I worked with for like 2 years.
Mm.
And my entire existence changed. And I feel like that really, yeah, being in the body is what comes up when you ask that question.
I love that. Especially because so many people aren't in their body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like, especially now, like, of course, I'm like, especially now with everything going on in the world, like diving right into it,
Yeah.
like people are dissociating, right? Like they're ignoring the body.
And I don't think most people even know that that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to, I share this story a lot with my clients that are kind of like starting this work. I worked at Whole Foods years and years and years ago in the supplement department. Actually, that's probably also part of where this really started for me, like really learning about herbalism and supplements and nutrients and all these things and like what this beautiful vessel needs to thrive. And I don't know what it's like now, but back then they were really, it was really important that people that worked there really understood and had experience with what they were offering, whether that meant you were in the fruit department and you've tasted all the fruit and can tell someone what that strawberry tastes like, or in my case, in the supplement department, have really like had experiences with whatever's there and whatever's aligned for you to and safe for you to engage with. And I remember doing a cleanse
Mm.
because my boss wanted me to be able to talk to someone about what that experience was like. It was a 12-day cleanse. I had like daily supplements and a diet plan that went with it. And on the other side of it, I felt like a completely different person. And that experience really showed me, like for better or for worse, how incredible we are at adapting and
Mm.
how so many of us are at this baseline that is so far away from what we're capable of, but we don't actually even know that the other possibility is there.
Yeah. Mm. What do you think is the reason why people don't get there?
That it isn't modeled, which
Mm.
is like part of why I'm so excited to be on the show and to have conversations like this, because these things end up being breadcrumbs. Like somebody will listen to this and feel our frequency and it will make
Mm.
them pause and it will make them explore, do I feel like that most days? And why not if I
Mm.
don't? Like these things I think are so important right now for people to tune into and just feel something different, because so
Mm.
much of the world is chaos and bombardment and overwhelm and just like assaulting your senses at every moment. And it takes experiencing something else, I think, for the body and the
Mm.
being to be like, oh, there's another option.
Mm. And I think exactly what you said there too. It's not modeled.
Yeah.
Like it's so rare to see. And part of what sticks out to me is like, one, what's your profile again?
I'm a 6'2".
I was gonna say 6'2". Like
Mm.
the 6 stands out
Mm.
like immediately.
Yeah.
Um, and just the fact that when we officially opened this container, right? Like, what did you do? You sat back,
Mm.
you closed your eyes, you took a breath, and like people don't do that.
Mm.
Like they just jump right in. Like, oh, I'm on a show. Like I have to be ready to go. I have to like go go go. It's like no,
Mm.
there's no time crunch.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
that there's this like deep richness that unfolds when we're able to do that.
Hmm.
I think that's so important too. I'm such a big advocate of giving yourself the permission to experiment. I was a 3 for first 30 years of my life, right? And I can look back and see how valuable that was in so many areas, but specifically because the conscious mind needs data to kind of like give permission, quote unquote, for change to happen. It really needs something to touch and say, this is real. This is evidence that I can be different, right?
Hmm.
And I was in this kind of like experimentation with myself of what's it like if I live completely from my intuition And if I really slow down and just like let this deep wisdom that lives in me like actually guide the way, and the things that changed and like the life that unfolded in and around me was so rich and vibrant. And what I found is when I move from my mind and from that pace that you're talking about, that like intensity and needing to sort of like be on top of everything instead of sitting back and letting something unfold within you or around you, that version of my life was like so much less interesting and less vibrant and less juicy and less magical than the one that unfolded when I really slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that reflection so much, and like an invitation to everyone who's listening. How easy is it for you to do that when you're in conversation with another being, or even when you first open your eyes in the morning? Are you immediately rushing into what your mind has projected onto the day, or are you receiving it? Is it coming in, or are you trying to create it internally?
Mm-hmm. Was there any one thing that really shifted things for you to get you out of that fast-paced mindset back into the body?
Yeah. I'm trained in a modality called inner voice work. It's very somatic. It's a process of kind of getting a person into a meditative state where they can like actually have a dialogue between the mind, the ego, the consciousness, and the inner voice, like the deep wisdom. And when you spend time in that state, you really feel the difference between those two frequencies. You feel what the mind and the ego is like. And then you have this really rich contrast with the inner voice and this quieter, calmer, deeper part of you. And part of my training in that was receiving those sessions and being facilitated for. And I did that work for about a year with a woman that I trained with. And that comes to mind absolutely, like really feeling from my own body that there was another option, and seeing the chaos as an option.
Mm-hmm.
It's an option. Most people think it's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an option. I think showing myself that difference and like giving myself permission to really live in that for a while, I just I've just never come back. I'm not even sure that I've answered your question, but that's what came up.
The answer's perfect. I love it.
Perfect.
It's like two things come to mind for me. One, I love that chaos as an option.
Hmm.
Like you're choosing
Hmm.
to live in chaos. And it's fun sometimes. Like think of a TV show, like it adds drama and excitement. It keeps you hooked.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, do you really want to live there?
Yeah.
Like, or would you rather have like peace?
Hmm.
Like, just a thought. But then also, let me pull up. You were mentioning the inner voice work, and immediately I thought you have a completely undefined ego and spleen.
Uh-huh.
I'd be curious to know like how you feel that impacted things.
I so deeply, deeply is the answer to that question. I have such a different relationship with those open centers. I feel my open ego has been a very like the source of the most of my deconditioning in this life,
Mm,
no question. That has been an ongoing process for sure. But as I look back over my life, I feel that I've often been, or I've kind of naturally been embodied in the open spleen, like this ability for me, an open spleen or an undefined spleen's all about possibility and potential.
mhm,
And in its shadow state, it sees that void, that openness, that gap as a threat. But in its power, it sees that as possibility, blank
mhm,
space. Anything can happen, right? And I've always been gifted, I think, with that perspective. And that absolutely informed the inner voice work, is like giving myself permission to go into that gap and into that unknown and just kind of sitting in it. Like, what
mhm,
happens when I go here? What happens if I drop? the story that I need my struggle and my chaos to be a good person or a valuable person or an
Mhm.
impactful person or a relatable person? Are those stories true, or are they just things that I've picked up?
Mhm.
Again, that like curiosity and being really willing to ask those things of your own stories. Is this fact, or is this just something I've carried for a long time? Is really powerful. But that open ego, girl,
Oh, it's a
is
fun
yours
one.
defined?
It is not. So
Mm.
I have an open ego spleen solar sacral root.
Wow.
Hmm. And my root is
Wow.
something I'm looking into right now. Multiple people have pointed that out to me. I have a hanging gate either on every channel or like, well, yeah, on every channel. So I'm the most activated, undefined root. Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
How do you experience that? That's fascinating.
I constantly want to move,
Yeah.
like constantly. And it's like, as a projector, that sucks. Because it's
Mm.
like, I want to rest and I know that I need to, but then my root's like, but there's someone in the vicinity that completes this channel for me. I want to go explore that.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'd love to, if you're open to it, I'd love
Hmm.
to hear more about like, um, what's your relationship with that instinct to go like make that root connection. Like I hear you say, I'm a projector, and so like having all
Hmm.
of that potential energy can be really overwhelming and intense. Is it like when you let yourself go and
Hmm.
explore and play in that, does it overwhelm the system or does it land differently? How do you experience it?
It depends. Like oftentimes I don't really feel it until later,
Sure.
because I get in the motion and I because I'm just genuinely such a curious person, like I don't mind going over my energy to still experience things.
Hmm.
Um, I used to have a lot of FOMO when I couldn't do things, and then when I realized like I found human design, I finally kind of clicked. That's actually helped me a lot with the FOMO, which is
Hmm.
a whole different story. But yeah, it's been a very interesting deconditioning process.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
hmm, something I think is so fascinating, like generators and manifesting generators. Obviously,
Hmm.
like people are always curious about what they don't have, right?
Hmm.
And you guys are just fascinating to me, especially like not to generalize, obviously, but there's this idea I feel like out there that generators and manifesting generators are constantly on the go,
Hmm.
but you are so calm. What's that dichotomy like for you? Or is there
Hmm.
one?
It's been such a deliberate
Mm-hmm.
cultivation. Like what we were talking about before, I asked myself that question of like, are
Mm-hmm.
you enjoying the chaos? And I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having fun, like I fully believe that every single one of us is a walking manifestation of the universe. The universe is
Mm-hmm.
like, I want to play human and I want to play it in this body this time. And so if you're having fun in the
Mm-hmm.
chaos, enjoy. But I wasn't having fun. I
Mm-hmm.
felt awful. And like for me, the calm and groundedness, it opens me to the magic that I need to feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a triple split and have emotional
Mm-hmm.
authority. So, like, yeah, I'm a generator, but I'm a slow
Right.
generator. I am
Mm-hmm.
slow. And that was a huge part of my deconditioning process too, of really accepting that
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing that a lot of the kind of standards, quote unquote, for generators actually don't apply to me. My body is designed to be slow. And talk about FOMO. Yeah.
Right. I can see that for sure.
Hmm.
I love that because it's like, it just shows, right? human design and the gene keys, everything helps so much in, at least for me, right? Rediscovering myself, relearning myself and my energy. But you can't generalize.
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, the design is wonderful, but coming back to the body is like the starting point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I want to pull up. I asked you a question on the scheduling page. What revolution are you leading? And I loved that first, like, I loved everything. But you said, I'm leading a revolution to bring the spiritual arts out of the shadows and into the forefront of cultural change. I'd love to hear more about that.
My perception is quite a lot of what is in disharmony in the world right now has roots in a lack of spiritual connection, a lack of connection between us and planet, a lack of connection between us and each other in a real, honest, intimate, genuine way, and also a real connection between self and self. I think often of that. It feels a bit tropey, I suppose, when we're like comparing it to the entire planet, but it really fits here for me that I'm not sure whose quote it is, but the idea that hurt people, you know, like for me, that connection to self and like the real connection to self and finding these places within your own body and your own being where you can have your needs met, your curiosity, your desire, your life force, your nourishment. Like if you are able to cultivate those things for yourself, between yourself and your connection to source and the world around you, you move through the world really differently. And I think if more people, I mean, it's already happening. We're walking towards 2027. Like I'm so optimistic about everything, frankly. I don't know that I'll necessarily see its full expression in my lifetime, but I feel like I have a real, and I remember you saying this too when we connected, you've got a real collective and like wider evolutionary lens on what's happening. And I really feel that way too. When those pieces are in place, I just think the world would be a very, very, very different place. And it feels very simple to me, maybe not easy, but very simple. And I'm really wanting to be a voice for that before we go try the next like grand, complicated, giant, whole earth rearranging thing. What's it like to just go inward a little bit and clear what's there? I have my dad's voice in my head growing up, he always saying to me, no matter where you go, there you are. Like whatever you're carrying is just going to come with you wherever you're going, into the next job, the next relationship, the next president, the next country, whatever it is. Like until that gets cleared, it's just going to keep repeating.
I love that. Props to Dad for that quote. Oh. 2027. I'm still new to that side of like human design and everything. I actually just had another conversation with someone about that. I would love to learn from you about your perspective on what's coming.
There's a lot of pieces to it. Like, what part wants to be talked about today? You mentioned something that I thought was so beautiful when we were kind of speaking before we got on the call today. You're talking about how human design and gene keys fits into like politics and activism. And for me, it's very much related to that, like kind of continuing off the conversation that we were just having, that so for anyone who's not familiar, what's happening in 2027, if you've looked at your human design chart, you've probably seen your incarnation cross. Every being has one. This is actually a transit. The incarnation cross is actually a transit. But because we only live for a certain amount of years, every human has one fixed cross. But the planet is also moving through these transits. The planet has a chart that is evolving as time passes. And that incarnation cross changes collectively every 400 or so years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's changing in 2027. And if you've done incarnation cross work, you know this is the theme of your life. And so the theme of our life collectively is changing for the first time in centuries, in 2 years, which is so exciting. Like everyone who's here right now, your soul said, I want to be a part of that. That is so exciting. It is so exciting. There are a lot of elements to it. I would say the biggest one is shifting away from collectivism and into more individualism. And not from a place of like, we're abandoning each other and tribes and families don't matter anymore. It's not that. It's really moving into understanding that me as a being, as an individual being, I am a cell in the universal body and I am able to connect to the universal body. And actually, this channel that I inhabit is actually all I need. It's not that I can't have a relationship. It's not that I shouldn't. It's nothing like that. But it's this shift away from I need the group to be well and to connect to source and to have resources that I need into I am the embodiment of these resources and this connection. And the solar plexus is a huge shift too. Huge shift.
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to come back to something you just said, but before I do that, go into the solar plexus shift a little bit for listeners.
It is moving. There is no hierarchy in the energy centers, but there's been a big focus on other centers over this last chunk of humanity of time. And the focus is really moving into the solar plexus, into the emotional center. And awareness, it's an awareness center, that is expanding. Our ability to perceive and understand, but also to impact matter is really elevating in the solar plexus. So what does that mean? It means we're moving away from, I can only create on the physical, right? Like think about what's been happening over the last 400 years. Huge advancements in agriculture, huge advancements in production, global connection, trade, very physical things, right? We're moving into an era where our abundance, our material experience is shifting into being much more energetic, much less physical. So this ability to sense what others aren't yet sensing, what others aren't yet aware of, this is like one of those superpowers that's coming online. And your ability to sense your own body and your own needs and the information that's coming through your system is moving all the way up in importance of like what it really means to be powerful. It's about emotions and emotional awareness as power, extrasensory awareness as power. I just want to sit with that. That to me is really fascinating because it's like these concepts, right, are very spiritual in nature. And yet we're literally seeing it manifest right now. Yeah.
Which is terrifying a lot of people. Possibly rightly so, but it's like that's where kind of disconnecting from that logic mind side, right? And really embodying yourself is going to be so important moving forward.
Yeah.
Which is also fascinating to me because then I'm like kind of tying back to your first response there with kind of the dissolution of the community tribal aspect, right? And focusing more on the self. Like when I kind of observe what's happening in the world right now, and like with the American government, just everything falling apart, like could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. It's literally reflecting this,
Yes.
and it's forcing people to come back to self. Very much feels like a traumatic or like codependent relationship, right? Which is also fascinating.
Say more about that, about the codependent piece.
So I'm thinking like trauma bonds, right?
Yeah.
Like we as American people are in a dysfunctional family that is just like you walk in the door and it's you can feel the trauma before you even get to the door, right? And it's like imagine being a kid growing up in that. You have to choose at this point to cut ties. And or you're being forced out. Like I'm likening that to like being disowned as well. There's so many ways I could go with this. Which I think makes it so much more important and timely that these modalities are coming more to the forefront, that there are people like you who are, your revolution is to bring this to people, right? And help them soothe their own nervous system. Because if the White House is our house, we are living in a house that is constantly triggering our nervous system. Like we have to be able to calm ourselves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that is the path to power, because when you're calm, you can discern. You can discern what's right for you and what isn't. You can discern what is of the shadow and what is of the light. You can discern what path you're meant to take, what you're not, what you're meant to take into your body, literally, food-wise, energetically, relationships, information. Like when you're calm, you can see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not, yeah, you're just getting bombarded by everything all the time. And I feel really called to share so I talked about how this 2027 shift is the incarnation cross changing. So it's the conscious sun and earth and the unconscious sun and earth of the collective. The conscious sun of the new cross is 55, which is the solar plexus gate. And I think Gene Keys is a beautiful way to look at these. The journey of that one is from victimization into freedom. Like that, and like that says all of it, And then what's going into the conscious earth placement, which is of course this like deep, it's where we get grounded, but we get grounded by going underneath. You have to go into the underworld to get grounded on the earth, because if there's stuff under the surface that you're afraid of, you'll never actually be grounded. And that gate that's coming in, or that key that's coming in, if you prefer, is the 59, which is the gate of intimacy. And in Gene Keys, the beautiful tagline for that key is doing the genetic laundry. Like we have to clear what has been considered normal, quote unquote, in how we engage with each other and how we relate with each other. And that key is my conscious sun. And I used to think it's in human design, it's the gate of sexuality. And so when I hear that, I used to think, oh, it's all about relating to the other. And that's present. But if you're not honest with yourself, if you're not in deep intimacy with yourself, you can't actually relate to anyone.
Yeah.
And that's what we're being called to right now. Who are you really beneath the noise? Who are you really beneath the projections, the assumptions, the story? What is the essence that's under there? And like, that is what we need from you and from everyone right now.
I love that you brought in the gene keys.
Mm.
Those are the tools that I feel like have helped me the most, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives me space. Like the gene keys is not a
Yes.
quick journey. Like,
No.
no, you sit with that in stillness.
Mm.
Um, 55 is my SQ. So I love that gene key.
Mm.
But when you were talking, I literally was envisioning the the golden pathway with the gene
Mm.
keys. And something that I love is that distinction between the Pearl and the Venus sequence.
Mm.
Because when you were talking about like getting deep and you have to go beneath the surface, it's like if you look at that image, it literally looks like the tip of an iceberg and what lies beneath.
You're so right.
Like if people had that, I don't know, I feel like that ripple effect
Mm.
would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is beautiful.
Hmm. Something else. This is going to be like a quick turn.
I'm here for it. I'm strapped
Right?
in. Let's go.
I was scrolling through your Instagram and I love so much of your content.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Um, but you had a post talking about the nodes and also
Mm.
midheaven placements.
Mm.
I love that. Like, would love to hear more.
Mm. I'm so like my whole body's like, I love the nodes. I love the nodes. I think because I'm so like about half my chart almost is in my eighth house. So
Mm,
death, rebirth, transformation, like these are things that are very easy, natural, obvious,
mm,
essential to me in this life, and definitely part of the gift that I'm here to offer because that's a point of fear for so many people. And I'm coded to see that
mm,
as something that's so beautiful and so essential. And for me, the nodes are such a beautiful expression of how that shows up in our life. I really started working with the nodes a couple of years ago. I was traveling. I did nomad life for 3 years, and I followed my
mm.
astrocartography around the world. Have you ever
Fun.
looked at yours?
I've
Are you
started to.
familiar?
So yeah, if
Yeah.
we have time, I want to dive into that too.
Yeah. So, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, so astrocartography is your natal birth chart expressed across the map of the planet. So, every planetary guide, all of the same ones that are in your traditional astrology reading, plus Chiron and the nodes, are on this map. And so, you have lines across the whole planet that carry the energy of each of these guides. And so I went to my nodes line last year, almost just over a year ago, and just felt like I understood that energy on such a deeper level because in astrology, in human design, the nodes are separate. In human
Mm,
design, you have 4 of them. I mean, they're completely separate. Of course, they speak to each other, but they're different points. In astrocartography, it's one point.
mm,
So when I went to my nodes line, I felt like I was simultaneously burying my old life and my old identity and activating my new one.
mm,
Simultaneous experience. And again, I felt that it was like death and rebirth in the same breath,
mm,
and such a deep expression of purpose. Your south node is the path you walk to get you to the north node, which is the expression of your truest purpose. This is like the wheel that turns in the second half of your life and it opens up the next incarnation if you have more ahead of you. It's the deepest expression of purpose. And to walk that threshold, to like let your old life die and to compost it with love and let it become something new is so beautiful to me.
mm.
And those points really show us like what that is for each being, what that's meant to look like for you.
Love that. How does the midheaven play into it for you?
I'm curious where, I'm like trying to think of what you would have seen where I was talking about midheaven too.
I
Because
feel
I
like
don't
it was
think,
around the same point.
interesting.
Maybe I'm just making
Um,
that up.
Maybe, but I'm gonna go with it with the question. Because it's interesting. Like, I don't feel super connected to my midheaven yet.
Mm,
That's like the one you asked me earlier if I had air in my chart. I have two air placements, and my midheaven is one of them. It's in Libra.
mm,
And I feel like I understand that from like the visual perspective. Like Libra is very much about aesthetics and beauty. It's ruled by Venus, and that makes
mm,
sense to me. But and maybe that's enough actually as I'm tuning into this. My intuition is saying that's it. That's it. That's the point. The beauty and the aesthetics, because that aspect really matters to me. It like
mhm,
brings me a lot of life. But yeah, the midheaven is like the public image, the career
mm,
expression. It's like this unique essence that you have that if you infuse that into the work that you're doing, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, really, it's like it crystallizes your true frequency, like
mm,
really bridges your frequency into the work that you're doing.
mm,
Yeah. So for mine being in Libra, it's always felt like it's got to look good, and it does. And like I went to art school, like my past life as a photographer, visuals have always been really important and life giving
mm.
to me. Um, yeah.
Love that. Hmm. When you work with astrocartography, I'm curious, do you pair that with other things as well?
I pair it with astrology. I look
Mm-hmm.
at, okay, if I'm going to a Saturn line, for example, where is Saturn in my natal placements and what's that going to activate? I have
Mm-hmm.
not gone down the rabbit hole of linking it with human design and gene keys yet. That occurred to me, funny enough, while I was
Mm-hmm.
on my nodes line, and I was like, whoa, I need a minute. Like I can't rabbit hole that deep quite yet.
That's where I'm starting to kind of play around a bit. It's interesting. Like I'm traveling somewhere coming up soon and I forget exactly what line it's on, but it's like Pluto or Chiron or both. So I'm like,
Ooh,
this is going to be fun.
yeah,
Uh,
juicy.
So like, give me a few weeks and I'll have a completely different perspective on things. But
Absolutely.
I love something kind of rewind that you mentioned, death and rebirth at the same time.
Hmm.
I want to explore that
Hmm.
because there's a lot of fear around that, right? For people.
Yeah.
When you were experiencing that, how did you move through it?
Something I've learned over the many deaths and rebirths that I've had is that everything has a cost. Staying where you are
Mm,
has a cost, and evolving into who you are becoming has a cost. And I used to see those things as something that was taken from me. Like I'm thinking about relationships maybe that didn't survive changes that I went through, or even career identities, all kinds of things that we lose along the way. And I used to see them as losses, but I see them now as things that get composted.
mm,
They get offered back to the earth, they get offered back to my life, and they become something else. And that shift in perspective has really opened me to be able to welcome the death, because I know that the death, it's not a fixed point. That's what most people are afraid of when it comes to this kind of death that we're talking about. Really, all
mm,
kinds of death, actually. But in speaking about this, like identity, death, and rebirth, the death is not a fixed point, it's a wheel.
mm,
And so, yes, you will have the experience, the momentary death, but it evolves into something else. It will continue. It will go on. Your life will continue. And I think that reminder is really important as well, that you're not going to get stuck in the death.
mm,
But if you don't I'm seeing the tower card like front and center in my awareness. If you don't let the death complete, you will have to do it again.
Mm.
And I think I learned that a couple of times. And so after going through that process once or twice, you're like, okay, I'm going to let it all, let it all complete. And it's now this thing that I find such beauty and such reverence in, that like I could offer something from my life that would become something else. Like what a privilege that is. How incredible is that we have the power to take something in your life, offer it to the universe, offer it to the earth, offer it to the altar of your own existence, and that it would turn into something else. Like, that's incredible. And you know when something needs to die. It's like you've got a banana on the counter and there's fruit flies all over it and it's getting kind of brown, and like, it's too far. You're not going to make banana bread with that thing. It's too far. You got to let it go.
Yep.
You know when you get to that point. And I think I just had so many rotting bananas on my counter that I was like, it's time for something new. It's time to let these compost, let them go. And the beauty that floods in when you let go, the most abundant times in my life, in every sense, money, relationships, business, clients, health, travel, in every sense, the most abundant times in my life always have been on the other side of huge releases. Deaths, letting go. And so you do that a couple times, and then you're like, why wouldn't I? Right? Why wouldn't I compost this if it's going to become something even more beautiful on the other side?
Yeah. The image that came to mind when you were saying that was literally like, you're a bird and you're holding on to things. You're holding on to your past self that's dying in your claws, right? Maybe you're the one that killed yourself, right? Like with those claws. It's so difficult to fly when you're carrying a lot of weight. So it's like, just let go.
Yeah. Oh, that visual is so potent because it also points to like how much we've normalized that struggle of flying with all the weight. And we a lot of people use that as an indicator that you're like doing it right. Like, if you're flying, you better be struggling. And if you're not struggling, then something's wrong. Like, that's pretty common in our collective unconscious. I'm really interested in breaking that. Like, I think we've forgotten how insane it is that we have incarnated on a rock that's spinning in space.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to enjoy it. My soul came here to enjoy this. And that's a process. And we're all in different journeys of that in our incarnation threads. But the struggle just feels, for me, it feels like a big piece of what's dropping in 2027 shift. Really big piece.
Yeah. This is just making me think of Gene Key 38. Or Human Design Gate. It's like we kind of, to piggyback on you, it's like we constantly feel like we need to fight for things to push through the struggle, right? But it's like, what if you treat it almost like labor? Like, I'm not a mother. I have never birthed a child, so I can't speak from experience. But I would imagine it's a lot easier to birth something if you're not trying to force it. That's the whole, like, don't push until it's time, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm coming back to like something you said earlier too about how you feel hopeful for what's coming and the future. And I feel that too, like, which is always something that I think is really interesting because you look outside and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that do not have hope. Makes me feel crazy sometimes that I do. But I think it's because I see myself doing this and I see so many other people just kind of surrendering to the process, enjoying the ride, like not falling victim, right? 55 to the hustle and like the programming. I feel like as a collective, we're definitely starting to embody that and it's going to ripple out. And I think, yeah, soon.
It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's actively happening. I think that context is so helpful too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think my assumption would be that it's really natural for you as a projector. Like, you just have a vision and a vantage point that the rest of us don't. You can see
Mm-hmm.
things on a scale that most of us cannot. But I feel like having that context of why something is happening is so important. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something astrocartography taught me. The US is going through a Uranus return.
Mm-hmm.
And like, for anyone who speaks astrology, like, that information is enough. Like, it's perfect. What's happening is perfect. The way that Uranus spreads its medicine is through upheaval. That's what it does. And we are going through that transit right now. So for me to look at what's happening and say it's wrong, to me is nonsensical, because exactly what is happening is supposed to happen. And I'm not saying I condone it and I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy about it. And I'm not saying my heart isn't broken. But when you zoom out and look at the way that energy moves through the cosmos and how that then affects our experience here on Earth, what's happening is right on time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same cycle when the French Revolution happened. This is the same cycle when ancient Rome fell. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's not the last time it will happen, but we're alive in it right now. And I think sometimes, going back to the 55 of victimization,
Mm-hmm.
the mind and the ego is like, oh, well, why do I have to be here for this? This is awful. But like, this has happened time and time again in history, and you're here now. And if you believe that you're here on purpose, your soul didn't make a mistake in the time that you incarnated. Like, it wasn't an accident. You're here for a reason. And my work is, I really want people to understand that and get curious about it. Like, what might that reason be? And maybe the medicine that's in your body that you're afraid to share is the medicine that's going to change the course of what's
Mm-hmm.
happening. But if we don't get it out there, we're never going to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. I'm kind of reminded again of what you said about the Venus sequence and the Pearl sequence and Gene Keys, about how it really does create a look of like an earth plane, and the Venus is beneath it and the pearls on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of my bio that I know you read at the beginning, but we just talked about the spiritual aspects of it. My work is with entrepreneurs, because this work, this medicine, not that it has to go through a business, but when it does, you also elevate the energy of money and exchange. And that has to happen.
Yeah.
We cannot expect our paradigm to shift without elevating the frequency of exchange.
Mm-hmm.
That must happen. And so when people like us are doing work like this and money gets exchanged for these things to take place, that changes things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've got chills. It's so important.
Mm-hmm. It really is. What are some of the things you've noticed with yourself and that people that you've helped move through this, right? That you've noticed have made the biggest impact in shifting that frequency?
Healing the relationship with money. It's huge. It goes so deep. It goes so deep. Healing that. And almost everyone I've ever worked with, myself included, has the witch wound present. This feeling of when I step up to share and speak and offer my medicine and use my voice, your body literally remembers what it was like when that was actually a threat to your life, and your nervous system responds as such. So that's a huge part of the work that I do. Like, I'm a business coach, but my work, we're going into the body and the nervous system and the shadow, and like, where is your system coded to feel threatened and endangered in the exact arena that you need to be to share your gifts. Those two things for sure. Blocking around the throat and money work. Absolutely. Because if you want to run a business, but subconsciously you believe that money's evil, we got a problem.
Yeah. Have you noticed like any specific connections? Or like, I don't like saying quick fixes. No, we'll leave that question. Never mind. It's like not time for it. Let me pull something. You're an artist.
I am.
Which is one very like, you can just sense that about you. How has that helped you heal and like move through everything?
Part of how that witch wound functions, and also part of how the money wounds function, is by making you think that your existence is subpar. That you're less than other people, your thoughts, your perspectives, your opinions, your gifts, that they're smaller compared to them out there, right? Being an artist and seeing my life as art, seeing my business as art, making art of everything I do, has really helped me to land back into this remembering that my worth is equal to everyone else's. And when you feel that, it's kind of similar to that sensation we were talking about before, where the death and the rebirth is happening in the same breath. It's like in the same breath, you are remembering that you are extremely gifted and important and beautiful and radiant, and that every other being is the same. It's this like grand equalizer, but also when you're on that equal plane, you allow yourself to be a channel and a portal for something different. You trust yourself to be a receiver of a different kind of energy. And when you let that through, that's what actually makes the change. Like when you see somebody engage with your podcast as an example, or something that you put out on Instagram, or however you share your work and your art, when you see it change someone, when you like actually witness the implication and the ripple of that, it really deepens your own reverence for your being and what comes through you.
How do people trust that?
Practice. Practice. At the beginning, you're just going to need to do it to show yourself that you're not going to get struck by lightning. Because that's how it feels at the beginning. You feel like you're going to die. You feel like if I put this out, everyone's going to hate me. Everyone's going to think I'm a crazy, raging narcissist. Everyone's going to think I've gone off the deep end. All the things the mind says. I've heard it all. It's been in my mind, and it's been in every mind of every woman I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, the way to get past it is just to do it and show yourself you're not going to die. Then once you get that out of your system, then you can start exploring and playing. okay, when I'm not in this state of fight or flight, now I can start to play. What's really here? What do I want to share? What's exciting to me? Ooh, I might go over there. I've never experienced that before. I've never said that before. Wow, is there art to be made in this corner of my existence? I think there might be, but you've got to get those early jitters out and really show the nervous system that you're safe, that you're safe. And you also start to trust yourself, because you are going to have the experience that you're afraid of. Someone is going to not like something you say. Someone's going to misunderstand you. Someone's going to judge you or project something onto you. That is going to happen. And I hope this lands the way I mean it, but I often say to people, I hope the thing you're most afraid of happens. Because then you can see that you're okay on the other side of that, and you can trust yourself to walk through it. And once that happens, it just creates so much space. It creates so much space.
That's just making me think of all the times when I'm like, when the worst thing, well, not necessarily always the worst, but like the thing I feared happened. Like, one, being so aware of your body, like going through that healing process, you can sense when you're being triggered, which lets you then come back to center.
Yes.
Like that in and of itself has been a game changer. But it's like when you can consistently prove to yourself, not that you need to prove anything to anyone, but like when you can do that, you also move through what could be a really traumatic experience, right? More quickly. Like the other day, for example, I put something out there and got a negative response in person, which is like, to me, scarier than online, because online it's like I can step away. I can take a breath. But if it's in my face, it's like, ooh, it's hard. But the more you do that, like you said, it opens up so much more space to move through things quickly and then create something from that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited. Side note, because I can just sense how, like, one of the silver linings of everything that's happening, right, is this is like prime time for artists. And I'm just sitting here like, there's going to be so many masterpieces coming out soon. Like, because so many people who have been hiding their creativity are now starting to express it.
Yes.
And it's like, God damn, if you are sitting on your creativity, anyone who's listening to this, like, please don't. I want to see it, if anything.
Yes.
Like,
it is life force. Creativity is literally life force. And so when we hold it back, when you have that instinct to create something and you hold it back, it is the same thing to your body as holding your breath. And so if you've been sitting on something for 2 years, as an example, can you imagine, I don't mean to be dramatic, but sort of the damage to the cells of holding your breath for 2 years?
Right.
Artists have this story that your art is inconvenient or silly or, again, less than something else, but it's not. It is actual life force moving through you. Like, think of all of the music, the books, the films, the paintings you've engaged with that have changed your life, changed your consciousness, opened your heart. Like, imagine if those things didn't exist. This art has to come out. It has to be light and fun and enjoyable. And like, sometimes it feels like birthing a baby, but like, what if that's perfect? You know, it's just part of it. But we need that art. We need that life force. The world is starving for life force, truly. And it's easy to say, oh, that's happening out there. It's their fault that the world is starving. But if you're holding your art in, you are contributing to that. it's a hard thing to hear, but we need to hear it. Like, I don't know what else needs to happen for us to hear that from each other, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like so many people forget that they are the ripple effect.
Yes.
Like, we think about, oh, these big names, like, obviously they have an impact. But, sweetheart, like, you can say hi to somebody at the grocery store who's having a horrible day. Like, you don't know what's happening. And you just saying hi, that impact is going to ripple. You just sharing your art, you don't know who's going to see it. You don't know how that's going to impact them.
Yeah.
I know, like, for me, one of the things that I've always worried about and that's held me back is worrying that my impact is going to have a negative ripple effect.
How so? Like, how could it?
I feel like because for so many people, they've been conditioned to people please, right? And if you speak your mind, you're going to hurt somebody. If you share your art, you're going to hurt somebody. But it's like, by not sharing that, you are robbing them of the opportunity to reflect on themselves and grow. Because I think that's part of what art is too. It's like, it might be one person's self-expression, but we're all mirrors, right?
Yes.
I don't know, part of me feels like random thought. Some of the movements out there to ban books and ban creative arts, right? It's really just a reflection of people unwilling to look at themselves. Again, the ripple effect. If there was one thing, one seed that you could plant where you knew it's going to take root, it's going to grow, it's going to ripple out, what would that be?
It came roaring in. Trust yourself.
Mm.
Trust yourself. I mentioned this earlier, but it feels worth repeating. Every single one of us is a manifestation of the divine. You are a piece of the universe in a human body. Every cell is individual, but the body needs all the cells. The healthier all the cells are, the healthier the body is. And you are one of those. And your authority, your guidance, what feels alive for you, your desires, they don't need to look like anyone else's. They might sometimes, and they might never. But when you're really in alignment with what's true for you, trust what comes through.
And I feel like that is a perfect place to stop. So, first of all, thank you so much for a beautiful conversation. I appreciate that.
Same.
Mm-hmm. And second of all, where can people find you? How can they get within your sphere? All that jazz.
Thank you for asking. You can find me every week on the Aura Lab podcast. That's where I do a lot of solo episodes over there, but if you like the energy, that's a good place to tune in. I'm on Instagram at Krystal Thompson, and my brand is called The Aura Lab. You can find my website by that same name. It's theauralab.co. As we mentioned, I work with entrepreneurs mostly, not exclusively, but that tends to be where most of the magic happens, doing human design and gene keys and energy work and really helping you just be present in the magic of who you are.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Krystal.
Thank you, Emily. This was a pleasure.
Me too. Bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. Another episode of The Glass Box, wrapped, delivered directly from me to you. Check out the show notes if you have questions or would like to connect with either Krystal or myself. And until next time, stay tuned. Signing off with love, Kai. Just kidding. You know who I am.